Just indicate to me where you are here, sir.
Ke kopa fela o njwetse hore o ne o le hokae.
Mona ne ke le siyo.
I wasn't there, Your Worship.
No.
Yeah, there I am, Your Worship.
Can you just point, please, so that we make certain? You can point on the TV, please.
No.
Is that you, sir?
Correct, sir, Your Worship.
Stop, Mr. Baba. What are you doing now, sir?
Mani o ne o etsa eng ntate? I was calming Mr. Ndozi down, Your Worship.
Conflict. Why, stop, Mr. Baba, why are you putting your hands on accused number 2, Mr. Ndlozi?
Hobaneng o ne o beha matsoho a hao ho yena?
Kore ke ena kare una alifile ke ena na pusha tsa sone ke mothila.
He was angry, Your Worship. So I was reprimanding him.
What were you, when you say you are reprimanding him, are you saying something to him, or are you just using your body? Explain reprimanding to me, please.
Ha o re o ne o mo kgalemela, o ne o etsa eng? O ne ntse o ne wa e bua o yena kapa o ne mpa fela o sebedisa mmele wa hao fela?
Ke le kare aska halefa.
I said, don't be angry, go back to the vehicle.
Continue. Just go back, please, Mr. Baba. Just move back before he takes him away. It's fine, leave it, ma. Leave it. There you are. Okay, play. Stop. What is Mr. Ndlozi doing there to you?
Ntate Ndlozi o ne a etsa ho wena mane.
Kore ka mkhana halifile tati. Una mpusha ke le na ke le ka mostopa. Ona ba tlotla ka sepele ka.
Your Worship, the way he was angry, he was pushing me, Your Worship. He was trying to go to the other side, so I was stopping him.
If you say other side, what are you talking about? What side are you talking about?
How ona ba tla ka lehlakoreng le leng o ra hore
Ona ba tlotla ka lehlakoreng lena la gore ka sa dile ka.
Your Worship, I'm saying he was trying to come on this side.
What side, sir?
Lehlakoreng le fe monghadi?
Lehlakoreng le
Point to me, where is he trying to go?
No, he was trying to point to come this side. So I was in between that every time.
He was trying to move forward. Are you saying forward?
This side. Yeah, this side. He wanted to come this side.
Just for record purpose, what the witness have shown on the video screen, that he is trying to go over to Kelano Fento's side in this regard. Is the observation by court correct, state and defense?
Confirmed, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Your Worship. Continue, Mr. Baba.
Is that correct, sir? The video footage that you observed, that is what happened.
Ke yona fela footage e leng right e. Ke yona ntho e etsahetseng.
Yeah.
That is what has transpired, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. You can go back, sir. So I'm going to hand you your statement, okay? Your statement that you made.
Jwale he monghadi ke tlo go fa statement sa hao tokomane ena nana ke kopa o shebele yona.
Your Worship, I know the court doesn't have the original here as it is. I'm not sure if my colleague is objecting if I just hand the copies of the court might just be able to proceed or...
No, Your Worship, I think it's in the interest of justice. I was going to refer to it anyway, so I believe that Your Worship should have a copy. I know it's unusual for the prosecution to do this, but I have no objection to Your Worship seeing it because I intend to use it anyway.
So there's no objection for the use. The court will then allow the said statement to be used by consent of the parties. And after the statement
Yes,
is...
I don't know if that's a clear copy. Is that clear? Because we've got clear
It
copy.
is not very clear, but I will manage. No, it's fine.
This is clearer.
No, it's fine. Advocate, it's fine. The court will manage.
That's not more.
It's fine, Your Worship, you can have this one.
This one.
We can just swap. These are clear. I can see from there. Your Worship, this seems to be a clear document.
Thank you very much, Advocate.
Yeah, it's definitely clear.
Yeah, it is better. As indicated, the court will make a ruling after both parties have dealt with the statement. Then the court will make a ruling with regards to the use of the statement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, you've looked at the statement, am I correct? Now,
O shebile tokomane eo akere?
Ke shebe.
Yes, Your Worship, I am.
is that your statement, sir?
Ke sona statement sa hao se monghadi.
This one.
It is correct, sir, Your Worship.
Is that your signature reflecting on the second page, sir?
Ke wena a ileng a tekena mane leqhepeng la ho qetela. Sheba leqhepeng la ho qetela. That's myself, Your Worship.
Did you sign the statement?
O ile wa se tekena.
Sign.
That is correct, sir, Your Worship.
Did you write the statement yourself?
O la ngola statement sena ka bo wena.
Missing as well.
No, Your Worship, I did not write it on my own.
Who wrote it? Who wrote the statement?
Ke mang a ngotseng statement sa hao?
Ke le police.
It was a police officer, Your Worship, the investigating officer.
Did you, after the statement was written down, did you read your statement?
Ka mora hore statement sa hao se ngolo o le wa se bala?
Ke le ka se bala.
Yes, Your Worship, I read it.
Were you satisfied with the content of the statement?
O ne o kgotsofetse ka se ngotsweng moo?
Ke ne ke kgotsofetse.
Yes, Your Worship.
When you were writing, or when they or someone of the police officer writing the statement, did you speak the
Ngola statement sa hao. Le ne le bua puo e le nngwe.
Yeah, now I come to speak.
I was speaking Sepedi.
correct?
Jwale o dumelana le nna hore o kgotsofetse ka dintho tseo
I'm going to go to
paragrafong ya bobedi. Leqhepeng la pele.
in at the front. I was posted there at the Forward Memorial Park to control traffic and parking duties. Is that correct?
Ka letsatsi la di 14 tsa April 2018 ka bo 16 hours tapama ke ne ke le mane Memorial Park for 4 ways mehe ke ne ke laola sephethephethe. That is correct, so your worship.
The senior interpreter is just indicating that maybe the interpreter in the statement as well, Your Worship. So we must just here for her as well. No, Your Worship, I'm sorry.
We have an extra.
Do you have? Thank you. I'm going to read. I confirm that the vehicles that were having escorts. I confirm that the vehicles that were having escorts were directed straight to the VIP parking, including the black Vito, which was transporting the EFF members.
Jwale he ke a dumela hore dikoloi kaofela tse ileng hore di ne di tsamaya ka batho ba ileng hore ba bohlokwa di ne di pakuwe plekeng e itseng ho kenyeletsa le Vito e ntsho e neng e tsamaisa di membera tsa sehlopha sa EFF. That is correct, so your worship.
Now my question to you is, when you testified now to the court, you said I stopped the Vito, I proceeded to the driver's side.
Now we understand legal boundaries. If my learned friend wants to cross-examine him on his statement or says it's incorrect, then she must declare him hostile before she does so. I don't accept what's going on now, Your Worship. This is wrong.
Thank you.
May I reply, Your Worship?
Yes, you may.
Your Worship, I am not cross-examining, Your Worship. I'm asking, Your Worship, if my colleague waited for me to ask the question, I would have asked the question to clarify as to what he's saying now and what he's saying in the statement, Your Worship. It is clarity, Your Worship. This is what he testified, and this is what is in his statement.
It's not clarity, Your Worship. There are two different versions. It's definitely not clarity. This version, Your Worship, has heard now, says, and it's crucial, I confirm that the vehicles that were having escort were directed straight to the VIP park, including the Black Vito, which was transporting the EFF members. In chief, Your Worship, he gave a different version. It's not clarifying. It's highlighting differences, which is not clarifying. And he's answered. He's already confirmed that this is the truth. What he said in his evidence in chief, led by my learned friend, Your Worship, was the following. He was asked, did this vehicle have escorts? Yes, that is the reason why I stopped. That's the reason why I stopped it. So in the one version, it's got escorts, and the other one it hasn't. And then he's asked here. So Your Worship will see here that on this version here, he doesn't stop the vehicle. In his evidence in chief, he stopped the vehicle. They're totally different, Your Worship. I can go step by step. It's not clarification. And she was asked now, important, Your Worship, do you confirm the content of your statement? He said yes. He says, correct, sir. So you can't have it both ways. My learned friend cannot proceed like this, Your Worship, and I object to it.
Thank you, Ms. Hart.
Your Worship, I disagree with my colleague, Your Worship. Your Worship, East versus Reagan, A versus government, Your Worship, with regards to statements. It is there for the prosecutors, Your Worship, to know which charges to put, Your Worship. I'm asking this witness, I agree what my colleague, what the witness said, Your Worship, and what is in the statement. I am now asking as to the witness as to why he did not mention this in his statement. Why? That he stopped the vehicle. That is my question, Your Worship. I believe, Your Worship, I have a right to this answer, this question, Your Worship. And, Your Worship, I am still examining this witness. I do not believe that this witness is to declare a hostile witness. I am asking you to still my case in order for this witness to explain why he said in evidence in chief and why he said in his statement.
Thank you. I believe there's no further addresses on this issue, so the court will make a ruling with regards to such. I am in agreement with the defense. This demands to cross-examine of your own witness. If you intend to declare your witness hostile, then you need to do so. However, then the question is not allowed. You may proceed, Ms. Hart.
This is the court, Your Worship. The state respects the court's ruling, Your Worship. So is there anything that I might not have asked you that happened on the 14th of April 2018?
Monghadi, e ka ba ho na le se etsahetseng ka lona letsatsi leo la di 14 tsa April 2018 e leng hore ha ke ya o botsa ka yona? I do not understand your question.
Is there anything that might have happened that you have not informed the court, or that I might not have asked you?
E ka ba ho na le ntho e etsahetseng o leng hore wena ha wa e jwetsa lekgotla?
Le re bone sona ha ke bona statement ke bojetsitse ka re ha ke godi ha ke gore ke motse ntho le mara tse ding ke tla di araba ka court.
Your worship, I even explained to the police officer that was taking my statement that I have written some of the aspects, and the other aspects I'm going to explain them when I get to court.
This is the court, your worship. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. Advocate Orders, cross-examination.
Thank you, sir. Staff Sergeant, you have 33 years experience, is that correct?
Monghadi, o na le dilemo tse 33 o sebetsa. I get that is correct, so your worship.
And in those 33 years, were you involved in other funerals, state funerals?
Jwale, ha o ntse o sebetsa tshebetsong ya hao, ho na le mane mo e leng hore o kile wa sebetsa mo o na le mphuphu ya setjhaba? Many times, your worship.
So you knew the protocol of what happens when there's a funeral, and the military police are involved in directing people, is that correct?
O ne o tseba hantle tsamaiso e leng hore e a etsuwa ha ho na le diphitlho tse tjena e leng hore ho na le masole a keneletseng ka hare le batho ba bang hape ba bohlokwa. That is correct, so your worship.
And when you worked at those funerals, did you work with Colonel Fenter?
Nako o ne o sebetsa diphuphu tsena na, o ne o sebetsa le Monghadi Venter? No, your worship. It was my first time of working with him.
From your answer now, it becomes apparent that you never knew Mr. Fenter before this day. Do you agree with me?
Ho tjho re ka mantswe a mang ha ke utlwa karabo ya hao o totobetse hore o ne o sa mo tsebe Monghadi Venter pele o letsatsi leo.
Inspector, that note to be cancelled. I am not going to allow the media to roam freely. It is distracting to this court. Let there be order, no notes to be submitted anywhere without the court's permission. The court was clear when the court made a ruling to allow the media into this courtroom, so that must all be respected in all regards. No roaming around of the media. If the court is in session, they remain seated. They are not allowed to move away from the cameras which they are handled. In the case that they do so, the court will prevent them from recording further.
Thank you,
Sorry for
Worship.
the
I didn't see
interruption.
that. I apologize. I was
Thank you.
looking down. Thank you, Worship. Shall I repeat the question? From your previous answer, I take it that that was the first day that you were working with him, and by day, I'm including now the date being 14 April 2018. Do you confirm that, sir?
Ha o soka o sebetsa le yena, o ne o qala ho sebetsa le yena ka letsatsi la di 14 tsa April 2018. That is correct, your worship.
And since that day, being 14 April 2018, have you ever seen Colonel Fenter again?
Pele ho letsatsi la di 14 April 2018, o no kile wa teana le yena Monghadi Venter? No, your worship.
Now, if you look at your statement, you'll see it doesn't mention Colonel Fenter once. Do you agree with me?
Jwale ha o sheba statement sa hao, ha o mo bitse ha nngwe fela Monghadi Venter. Where and where, your
It
worship?
doesn't. You can look as many times as you want, sir. You won't find Colonel Fenter's name in your statement, sir. Please look and confirm.
Ke kopa o shebe statement sa hao Hona le mo o ngotseng Monghadi Venter.
Ah,
No, Your Worship, there's no way where I've threatened him.
Now, on the day in question being 14 April 2018, were you formally introduced to Colonel Fenton?
Jwale pele ka letsatsi leno la di 14 tsa April 2018 o ile wa motsibiswa semmuso Monghadi Venter.
ee, ke la ka motsebiso.
Yes, Your Worship, I was introduced to him.
When did that happen?
Seno se ile sa etsahala neneng?
E la re ha re fihla ke ntho e etsahetseng hoseng ka hona letsatsi leo.
It happened on the very same day, Your Worship, in the morning, on our arrival.
And you were told this is Colonel Fenton, and you introduced yourself to him, and he introduced himself to you. Is that correct?
O ile wa jwetsa hore enwa ke Monghadi Venter, ke Colonel Venter, mme he le wena wa itsebisa lebitso la hao.
Ha ra tsebisana re le babedi re shebane. Captain a ntshwere ke yena la re jwetsa hore a na re posta mo gating a re ge le group kaofela a re ga tlo sebetsa le Colonel Venter ke yena tla ba le in charge mo gating then a ba tsamaya le ba bang a ntse ba posta jwalo.
Okay. It was not a one-on-one introduction, Your Worship. There was a group of us, I'm talking about my colleagues, with
Captain
the captain that on that particular day. He informed us that we are going to work with Mr. Venter, and then that's where we were posted, and then he took my other colleagues and proceeded somewhere to the other posts with them, Your Worship.
So you were introduced on one occasion, you were told as a group, this is Colonel Fenton, we're going to be working together, or were you told this is Mr. Fenton?
O ile a jwetsa hore enwa ke Monghadi Venter, re tlo sebetsa le yena kapa o thule fela ke Monghadi Venter.
a o itse ke Colonel Venter la mo bitsa ka rank ya hae.
We were informed that it's Colonel Venter, Your Worship. He was introduced with his rank.
So there was no personal interaction between you and this Colonel Fenton, it was just two groups meeting each other that you agreed.
So ha hona mane mo ileng hore wena le yena le ile la shebana la bua le le babedi. No, Your Worship.
When you say no, you agree with me, is that right?
Sorry, Your Worship.
When you say no, it means you agree with me. There was no personal interaction. You're in agreement with what I'm putting to you. Do you agree? You agree with me, is what I'm saying.
O dumelana le nna ha ke re ho ne ho sna puisano mahareng a lona.
Ee, ha re le mosebetsing re sebetsa fela ka distraction.
When we are at work, we're working through instructions, Your Worship.
I'm going to proceed from there. You worked on instructions. The point I'm making, sir, is when you made your statement, you never made any mention of the name Colonel Fenton. Do you agree with me?
Jwale Monghadi, ha ne o etsa statement sa hao, ha hona mane mo ileng hore o le wa bitsa lebitso Monghadi Venter. Ho jwalo akere?
Statementing a ke ho jwalo.
That is correct, Sir, Your Worship.
At the time that you made your statement, did you remember that the man's name was Colonel Fenton or not?
Jwale nako o etsa statement sa hao, o ile wa hopola hore monna enwa ke Monghadi Venter.
Ha ke tse ke bua le investigator ke le ke mo hlalosetsa hore ke hlalositse ntho ngwe le yena a ngola.
Your Worship, when I was talking to the investigating officer, I explained everything. He was just writing, Your Worship.
That's not my question. That's not an answer to my question. And to ask it again to give you one more opportunity, sir. At the time when you made your statement, did you remember that his name was Colonel Fenton?
Nako o ne o etsa statement sa hao, o bua le leponesa le tshwereng molato. O ile wa hopola hore monna enwa e re buang ka yena ke Monghadi Venter.
Ee, ntse ke hopola.
I still remembered, Your Worship.
Why did you not mention him in your statement then?
Hobaneng jwale o sa ke wa kenya lebitso la hae mona statementeng?
Ha le ponesa ntse le mpotsa dipotso ha ona mala a mpotsa hore na ke mana le in charge ntho tse tshwanetse o mpotsa fela hore ho etsahetseng.
Your Worship, when I was doing the statement explaining to the police officer, he did not ask me who was in charge. He just asked me what had happened.
That doesn't answer the question. I'm going to repeat the question again, sir. Why did you not mention his name in your statement?
Monghadi, ke tlo botsa hape potso ena ke ka lebaka la eng o sa ke wa bua lebitso la monghadi Venter statementeng sa hao
Okay, ntho nngwe le nngwe ke ise ho yena, ntho nngwe le nngwe ke tla e botsa ka court.
I said to him, everything will be asked at court.
Still doesn't answer, but I'm going to put a proposition to you that I can assure you I'm going to prove through your cross-examination. You didn't remember his name. Do you agree with me?
Jwale monghadi ke a o jwetsa hore o ne o sa hopole lebitso la hae akere
Ne ke le hopola hantle ka sa seo.
I remembered clearly, Your Worship, on that particular day.
I'm warning you, Staff Sergeant, in advance that you're not telling the truth on this, and I'm going to expose it before this court. You understand the challenge?
Monghadi, jwalo ka leponesa la molao kapa motho wa molao ke ho jwetsa hore ha o bue nnete mme seno ke tlo se hlahisa ka ga lekgotla la dinyewe.
Ne ke bua nnete.
I am telling the truth, Your Worship.
For the court to decide. Now, this incident took place, the one that we saw in the video, on the 14th of April 2018. Do you confirm that?
Ketsahalo ena e etsahetse ka di 14 April 2018. E ka be ho jwalo?
Ho jwalo.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
You only made a statement more than a year later, on the 2nd of December 2019. Do you confirm that?
Jwale he o ile wa etsa statement sa hao ka mora ntho e ka etsang selemo e ne e le ka di 2 tsa December 2019 e ka be ho jwalo?
Ho jwalo.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
So, just for record purposes, it was almost 16 months later that you were called upon to make a statement. You confirm that?
Jwale ka mora dikgwedi tse 16 o bitsitswe wa lo etsa statement. That is correct, so Your Worship.
Now, when you made this statement, were you shown the video to assist you to remember what had happened that day?
Jwale nako o no etsa statement sa hao e ka be o ile wa bapallwa tshwantshiso ena na ho etsetsa hore o kgone ho hopola gona ho etsa etseng?
Leponesa le ne le tlile ke ena la nghopotsa ntho nngwe le nngwe.
The police officer who came is the one who reminded me of everything.
I don't know what you promised, Staff Sergeant. I'm going to ask the question again.
Okay.
Were you shown the video to remind you what had happened when you made your statement?
Ke batla hore o nkarabe hantle. Nako o no etsa statement sa hao o ile wa bontshwa tshwantshiso ena hore o kgone ho hopola hore na ho etsahetse eng.
Video ke bone ha se ke le mona di office.
I only saw the video when I was at the offices.
I don't know what that means. I don't know if you're trying to be obstructive or you're trying to avoid the question. Were you shown the video at the time that you made the statement? Is the third time I'm asking the question.
Monghadi ha ke tsebe hore na o leka ho balehela potso ya ka kapa ho o leka ho etsa eng. Potso ya ka ke hore e ka be o ile wa bontshwa tshwantshiso ena nako o ne o etsa statement sa hao e ya kapa tjhe? No, Your Worship, I wasn't shown the video.
So you've told the court now that the police officer told you what had happened. Tell us what he explained to you.
Ore le polisa le ile la o hopotsa hore na ho etsahetseng akere?
Yeah.
A gore qoqele hore na o itseng.
Ola re honna o batla tlo nka statement sa ka.
He said he wanted to take my statement.
Ka mo jwetsa hore ka wa gore ke incident efe.
I asked, the statement is regarding which incident?
Ke tla njwetsa hore ke ya memorial ya anegile lifula ka Memorial Park.
He said it is something that occurred whilst we were at the Memorial Park during the funeral.
Mona re na le Colonel Venter le maponesa ma.
Where we were with Colonel Venter and the other police officers.
Ja ke mo hlalosetsa ke re okay ha o tshwa jwale ke a hopola.
And then that is when I explained to him. I said, when you say that, now I remember.
How did you remember the date on your own?
Jwale o hopotse jwang di-date ka bo-wena?
Leponesa le investigating officer ke ena mfileng di-date.
The investigating officer gave me the dates, Your Worship.
So he gave you the date. Did he give you the names of the people involved?
Kaba jwalo ka o file di-date, o la a o jwetsa le batho ba e leng hore ba nkile karolo mono mabitso a bona?
O la re o batla statement concerning Mr. Malema le Mr. Ndlozi.
He said he wanted a statement concerning Mr. Malema and Mr. Ndlozi.
And did he tell you the complainant is Colonel Fenter?
Kaba o la o jwetsa hore moqosi ke monghadi Venter?
O la njwetsa.
Yes, Worship, he informed me.
And then you proceeded to tell him what happened, is that correct?
Jwale ke mane mo ileng hore o le wa tswela pele wa mo hlalosetsa hore na o etsahetseng?
Ke le ka mo hlalosetsa ka re tse le hore ha ke sa di hopola. Tse ding ke tla di bua ka court ha se ke botswa dipotso.
Yes, Worship, I did. I even went further to say, if it happens that some I do not remember, then I will explain them at court.
When you said that you give an explanation in court, you were going to expand or give more detail on what was in your statement. Do you agree with me?
Jwale monghadi hana o re o tlo hlalosa tse ding ka hare ho lekgotla le dinyewe, ho tjho hore o ne o tla fihla o name ka hare ho lekgotla la dinyewe. That is correct.
You weren't going to give a different version and say, well, the statement is lies, this is the truth. You're going to stay with the same version, is that correct?
O ne o tlo fana, o ne o tlo dula hodima taba ena o e ngotseng, eseng o fane ka taba e nngwe e tswileng ka thoko, ore taba ena e statementeng ha se nnete, ena e tswileng ka thoko ke yona nnete.
Gore ntho statementeng le ke buang ka court ntse le ntho e le nngwe.
What I have indicated of my statement and what I have said in court is the same thing, Your Worship.
That's again for the court to decide, but let's move forward. I want to put to you, you wouldn't say in your statement the car was blue and then come to court and say, no, it wasn't blue, it was red. You would stick to your statement, is that correct?
I get how what's his statement thing more koloi iblo o keke bo wa fitla ka re lekgotla la dinyewe o re e khubedu o tlo dula o tshena taba e ngotseng a kere. That is correct, so Your Worship.
Now, even though you spoke different home languages, your statement was reduced to English. Do you agree with me?
Le hoja le ne le bua dipuo tse sa tshwaneng fela he statement se le sa qetella se ngolwa ka sejatlhapi a kere. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And even though it's your constitutional right to choose any language you want when you testify, you understand and speak English well. We've seen in court. Do you agree with me?
Jwale monghadi le hoja o kgethile hore o bue Sesotho sa haeno o ntse o le tseba leleme lena la sejatlhapi ke utlwile mane a ntse o eme mane o bua. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And this statement was read to you for you to confirm before you took an oath that it was the truth. Do you agree with me?
Statement sena o ile wa se ballwa pele ha o ka tekena wa nka lekano ya statement sena ho jwalo. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And even if you might want to give more detail, as you've explained, when you sat to the prosecution preparing here, you never told them the statement is false. Do you agree with me?
Na kwele nentse le buisana le motšhotšhisi ha hona mohlang o kileng wa mo jwetsa hore statement sena se fosahetse. No, Your Worship, I've never said.
In fact, even when my learned friend started putting it to you, you confirmed the content of your statement. Do you agree with me? You said correct, sir.
Le hane a qala a o botsa ka sona o ile wa se dumela wa re dintho kaofela tse ngotsweng mona ke dinnete. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And now if we just stand still at today's date and we work out that since you made your statement on the 2nd of December 2019, more than 2 years have transpired. Do you agree with me? We passed December 2021, we're now in April 2022. Do you agree?
O ikaba o dumellana le nna hore ha e sale o entse statement sa hao dilemo tse pedi di se di fitile o entse jwang? ho se ho fitile dilemo tse pedi o entse statement sa hao.
Hona
Ho jwalo?
tje.
Ee.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, so Yosha.
And it's a matter of logic, unless there's something wrong with you. When something happened yesterday, you remember it better than when it happened 10 years ago. Do you agree with me?
Ha ntho e etsahetse ka la maobane o e hopola hantle ho feta ntho e etsahetseng dilemo tse 10 tse fetileng. Ho jwalo monghadi?
Ee, ho jwalo.
That is correct, so Yosha.
So as time moves on from an event, we forget certain details unless we've got a note to remind us. Do you agree with me?
Ha ntho e se e le nako e fetile re batla re e lebala re hloka se itseng hore se re hopotse yona. Ha ke re mongadi?
Ee, ke nnete.
That is correct, so Yosha.
Now you told the court that you watched the video in the office. What office did you watch the video in?
Jwale o jwetsitse lekgotla la dinyewe hore wena tshwantshiso ena o e bone mane dikantorong o bua ka dikantoro tse feng?
Ha ne ke tla mona court.
When I came to court, Yosha,
With the prosecutor.
le motjhutjhisi.
Ee.
That is correct, so Yosha.
So more recently you've watched the video to remind yourself what happened for details like what you were wearing on the day. Do you agree with me?
O ile wa sheba tshwantshiso ena na ho etsetsa hore e o hopotse hore na ho etsahetseng le hore na o ne o apere eng ka letsatsi leo.
Ee, ne ntse ke tseba hore ne ke apere hobane ke le mosebetsing.
Yes, worship. I still remembered as to what is it that I was wearing because I was on duty.
But this video will help you concerning what happened at the confrontation, right? By the entrance to Memorial Park. It won't remind you what you're doing outside in the street before the video captures you. Do you agree with me?
Video yani kapa tshwantshiso yani e o hopotsa se etsahetseng mane mabitleng e seng se etsahetseng ka ntle ho jarete ya mabitle.
Ee, seng hopotsa ntho e etsahetseng ka letsatsi leno hobane nna ne ke le ka ntle mabitleng.
Yes, worship, it reminds me of what happened within the yard of the cemetery. However, I was outside the cemetery at the gate.
Now in the statement, in the last paragraph, on the 2nd of December 2019, you took an oath under the following. It says in paragraph 5, I know and understand the contents of the statement. I do not have objection in taking the prescribed oath. I consider the prescribed oath to be binding in my conscience. You then signed beneath that oath. Do you agree with me?
Ka di 2 December 2019, paragrafong yane ya bohlano, o ile wa qetella o nka kano ore ha ke na bothata ba ho nka kano mme ke a tseba hore ho nka kano ho bofella letswalo la ka mme wa qetella o tekena. Ho jwalo?
Ee, ho jwalo.
That is correct, so your worship.
And you're not young. You got at that stage you had 30 odd years experience. You knew the legal implications of taking an oath. Do you agree with me?
Ha o ngwana ya monyane o motho ya moholo a bileng a na le dilemo tse itseng o sebetsa o a tseba hore ho nka kano hore na ke ntho e bofellang ho loka.
Ee, ke a tseba.
Correct, so your worship.
And just beneath your signature, we see that the Commissioner of Oaths went through the entire formal process of taking your oath. Do you agree with me? You'll see the stamp and the details there.
Jwale he ofisiri ya dikano ile ya qetella e etsa mosebetsi wa bona class man.
Ee.
That is correct, so your worship.
And he asked you questions. The Commissioner said, do you confirm that you and acknowledge that you're taking an oath and that this is the truth and that you're swearing to the truth before this Commissioner of Oaths? And he then took your signature and signed. Do you agree with me?
Ule a hobala ule a unkisa kano ya hore o dumellana le se ngotsweng tokomaneng ena le hore o ikana hore tseno ke dinnete le hore ha ona bothata ba hore o ka nka kana re bua ka
oath. Ee.
That is correct, so your worship.
And you've confirmed that whilst there might be more detail that comes to you from watching the video or thinking about it, This statement that's here is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Do you agree with me?
Go na le dintlha tse ding tse leng gore di a hlaella mane tshwantshisong fela wena o itse dintho tse mane ne ke dinnete nnete fela nnete e felletseng go jwalo.
Ee, ho jwalo.
That is correct, so your worship.
And you know, when you take an oath, whether you talk orally, having taken an oath before the court, whether you write it down, it's got the same legal repercussions. Do you agree with me?
O dumelana le nna ha ke re ho nka kano ka hare ho lekgotla la dinyewe o bua le ho nka kano o ngola fatshe statementeng sa hao ke ntse e le ntho e lengwe ho ya ka molaotheo.
Ee, ntse le ntho e le nngwe.
That is correct, so your worship.
Return to your statement, sir. It says,
Ha re kgutlele statementeng sa hao monghadi.
I, Gilbert Molaleki Mapisa, state under oath in English. Is that correct?
Nna Gilbert Moleleki Mapisa ke nka kano ka leleme la sejatlhapi.
Ee.
Yes, your worship.
Right. When you testified today, you said your name's Molaleki Gilbert Mapisa. Which name comes first?
Jwale he monghadi ka jeno bitse o Moleleki Gilbert Mapisa. Mabitsong ana a hao a le mabedi ke le feng le tlang pele?
Ke Moleleki.
It's Moleleki.
It's my
worship.
first name, yes.
Moleleki, it's my first name.
Paragraph 1. I'm an adult male. Identity number 66022058900087. So far, do you confirm that that is in fact your identity number?
Ore o motho wa ntate mme he nomoro ya hao ya boitsebiso tshelela noto pedi noto hlano robedi robong noto robedi supa.
Ee,
That is correct, so your worship.
It said residing at number 28 Cleverkey Street, Three Rivers, Vereeniging. Do you confirm that that is your address?
Ore o dula mane number 28 Kilbechi Strateng sa Kilbechi Pottery River Vereeniging.
ee.
That is correct, so your worship.
Cell phone number 0648484420. You confirm that that was your cell phone number then?
Mme nomoro ya hao ya mohala ke noto tshelela 4 robedi 4 pedi noto.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, so your worship.
And you said working at Johannesburg Military Police Lens. Was that your correct place of employment?
Jwale ore o sebeletsa mane Johannesburg Masoleng mane Lens. Ho jwalo.
Ee, ho jwalo.
That is correct, so your worship.
You said as General Police Investigation Section Head. Was that your position at the time?
Ke yona he mokgahlolo wa hao o sebetsang ka tlase ho ona general ya maponesa ya ho batlisisa.
Ee,
Ke wena hlooho ya teng.
ee.
That is correct, so your worship.
Yeah. General Police Investigation Section Head doesn't ordinarily attend to funerals. Do you agree with me?
Jwale he di generale tse batlisisang seponeseng ha di ke di ya diphupung e ka ba o dumelana le nna?
Ke dumelana le wena.
That is correct, so your worship.
So this was something extraordinary that you were doing on the day. Do you agree with me?
Se leng hore o ne o se etsa ka letsatsi leno ke ntho e ikgethileng ke mosebetsi o ikgethileng.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, your worship.
And it was a Saturday, it was the weekend. Do you agree with me?
Mme he e ne mafelong a beke e le ka Moqebelo.
Ee, ke dumela.
I agree with you, your worship.
So you knew this was some auspicious or special event. Do you agree with me?
O ne o tseba he hore ena ke pleke e tlabeng e ikgethile kapa ke mosebetsi o ikgethileng.
Ee, ke le ka tsebiso.
Yes, worship, I was informed of such.
Whose funeral was it?
E ne e le phupu ya mang?
Ya mme Winnie.
Mrs. Winnie.
Mrs. Winnie Mandela. Do you agree with me?
O ra mme Winnie Mandela?
Winnie Tikitizela Mandela.
Winnie Tikitizela Mandela.
So you knew this was a special, auspicious event in the funeral of Mrs. Winnie Mandela. Do you confirm that?
Can you repeat that again, Your Worship?
You knew this was a very special or auspicious event in the funeral of Mrs. Winnie Mandela. Do you confirm?
O ne o tseba hore mosebetsi ona ke mosebetsi o ikgethileng mme ke phupu ya mme Winnie Mandela.
ke nnete.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
And you knew that there were lots of dignitaries or VIPs or members of government coming that day. Do you agree with me?
O ne o tseba hore ho na le batho ba ikgethileng ba maemong a hodimo ba ditulong tse hodimo mane molaong wa rona. E ka bo jwalo?
ke nnete ho jwalo.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
Now, that doesn't appear from your statement that this was Mrs. Winnie Mandela's funeral. That was the type of detail that you left out. Do you agree with me?
Jwale statementeng sa hao ha o ya ngola hore letsatsi leno e ne e le phupu ya mme Winnie Mandela. Seno ha wa se ngola statementeng sa hao.
ke a dumela.
I agree with you, Your Worship.
Because you...
Sorry, I forgot to interrupt. I noticed it is 11 o'clock. It is tea time. Unless the parties do not wish to drink tea, then we may proceed. But I believe all other parties... Yes. Can I just get clarity? Do we resume at 11:15?
Yes, Your Worship.
Due to the matter is being an old matter, so whatever minute we have, we need to spend on this case. The court does not need to be called. I will be at court at 11:15 as well. Mr. Mapisa, you still under oath. You are not allowed to discuss your evidence with anyone. Do you understand?
I must stay in the court.
O santse le ka tlasa kano ha wa dumelwa hore o ka bua le batho ba bang ka case ena. Ra o tsona ke reng that.
ke dula ka
Do
court.
not go too far. The court will start exactly at 11:15.
Re tlo qala ka 11:15. Re santse re nka khefutso. Tla ka
To
11:15.
accuse may stand. Thank you. Auditor.
nkaya ka
Kana wa tsela ka ntwa shapo ke moya hanyane. 11:15 Thank you.
You were born to do this, and you are gifted, man. I got
Okay, sure. Yes. This people that's the one when I'm thinking does this it's not a plan to this guy. It's never going to be you will never understand.
We're consulting here, we've been feeling here. Sorry. We're with our lawyers here. No, what are you neighbor? No problem.
Video. It's okay, you're not allowed to take it.
Yeah, but don't touch me. You don't need to touch me. You don't need to figure out something.
Ma'am, we're consulting.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Please.
I'm making a video. She's taking a photo.
You don't even see what she's doing. Why are you talking? You don't even see what she's doing. You are sitting there, you just stand up and talk that she's not taking a video without seeing what she's doing. You don't see what she's doing. Why supremacism allows you to be like that? You just stand up there and then say no, she's not taking a video.
But you don't know what
she's doing.
because you are there.
You think your whiteness gives you superiority to know everything. That's your problem. You don't know what she's doing. You just end up know she's not taking a video.
We all want it.
You heard what he said about the charge that you have to put forward.
Really, I can't. I can't. And I know if I took it from you, immediately I was going to give it to you. But then Puti said you'll be here tomorrow, not today. Today it's in Midland. Because if I took it from you, I was maybe I gave it to this guy. But then where is it now? Even if I can start searching where we can start searching.
That issue next to the in between. What you said? Oh, okay, yes. And now, kind of what is happening there? With the next two or in between? They are standing in front of him.
Starts off what uniform? It's military navy, you know.
Not in between, but in front.
They're pushing each other on around. I just stood in the middle of them.
Because when the issue are next to,
and it came between them, group of people
in between.
All the cell phones must be on silent. We must put our mask properly.
Maybe seated. Thank you, Masa. Are we back on record?
Just say a minute, Your Worship. On record, just put on the report, please. Thank you, Tuli. Your Worship, before we proceed, Your Worship, continuation.
You want to address on record? Because
Yes,
I don't think we are officially on record as yet.
Please,
Yes.
report, Your Worship.
It's case, thank you. It's case number 3/4067, stroke 2019. The appearances is as before. Thank you, Ms. Hart.
This is the court, Your Worship. While we had the tea break, Your Worship, Mr. Baba just got hold of the senior interpreter that was sitting in court, Your Worship, with the issue of the pushing each other, where the court said that the transcripts will be transcribed, Your Worship. There is an issue. Mr. Baba's also just with advocate holders, Your Worship. The interpreter was here. He took notes with regard to that issue of pushing each other, standing between each other, Your Worship. The senior interpreter requested for it to be played back, Your Worship, so that he can assist, Your Worship, with that interpretation.
With the interpretation. At this stage, I believe Mr. Malema as well as Mr. Ndlozi may be seated. Advocate holders, you confirm what the prosecutor has indicated, that the chief interpreter has listen to the record because it was not done in the absence, it was not done in the presence of the court itself. So,
Worship, he hasn't listened to it. He's here now to do it before your worship.
you have not
What
done
we
so.
proposed is rather than doing it afterwards, which could necessitate more questioning, it's better if it's resolved
At this
sooner
stage.
rather than later, with your worship's permission, if he could do it now for the court, worship.
Yes,
Thank
may
you.
be done so. The record must be replayed at that stage. Forward.
And accused number 2, Lieutenant Quentin Joseph, is in charge of assault common today's date is the 7th of April 2020.
Come around. Your worship, after some minutes, while I was standing there, I heard some noise, your worship, which was appearing from the back.
A little bit forward.
So there's a few minutes, so it'll be easier.
Continue. Yes, please.
Delore, hake sheba kimukile kabona Mr. Malema le corona mufefe mabatu bafusha.
And then, your worship, after that is when I saw Mr. Malema. I saw the people pushing each other.
You said that is why I saw Mr. Malema and then you said pushing each other. So,
Mr. Malema, how does that work?
Oh, every shall sadden.
Let me explain it clearly, your worship.
Ila hake sheba kibone Mr. Malema the Mr. Influence.
Upon looking, your worship, I saw Mr. Malema and Mr. Gozi
Bafusha mtakefente.
pushing Mr. Senator.
Mara mumu na relate.
When we were at,
Unale batora na ata unale batora batari uniform on the other side. Kowi the
there were many people in worship. On the other side, there were people that were wearing a uniform, and then the car was on the other side.
what kind of uniform?
Any uniform is one.
Unale di uniform the ngata because they are mapolisa ya masole. Ya navy military the white.
Yeah, worship, there were different kinds of uniforms. There was police officers' uniform, military officers' uniform. There was also Navy officers that were wearing white.
Okay, you said upon looking, you saw Mr. Malema and his was pushing Mr. Fenter, and then what happened?
Or also every morning, Ulama and Malema and Tatin was bad. What to make a difference? That is when I proceeded to them worship.
Continue.
So let's see the night. They were pushing each other, and then upon my arrival, I just stood in the middle of the worship, in their middle.
Stop. Sorry, worship. The interpreter is just saying stop. The
Yes,
cannot
thank
see
you.
the worship.
Just a microphone. Is there a microphone in front? You just also need you to indicate your full names and surname, as well as your title for the record before you interpret.
The name is Tato Rames Yoship. I'm the acting cluster manager. I'm with the Randburg cluster. according to the record, Your Worship, I just noticed that my learned interpreter, Your Worship, said she proceeded in between them and stood. So now she was not supposed to say she stood in between them, Your Worship.
So the correct interpretation would be?
He went between them.
Your Worship, there's one more that follows after this one.
Yes. May the record be continued?
Sorry. You have to stop it here and go back. Oh my goodness. Put it in your hands.
Thank you, Brett. If you are ready, may I proceed?
Ready to leave?
Ukena ka haruma.
Kena fenter.
It was kind of painted, Your Worship.
I can't hear.
How many people did you see when you stopped the vehicle? How many people was in the vehicle? When you
How any support in that? What do we know about what I had?
Aksa hopola nila batho ba bakae. Batho ke ba hlokomela ke Malema le.
I do not remember, Your Worship, how many.
Ke le di-uniform tse ngata because le ya maponisa ya masole ya navy le di tse white.
Your Worship, there were different kinds of uniforms. There was police officers' uniform, military officers' uniform. There was also Navy officers that were wearing white.
Okay, you said upon looking, you saw Mr. Malema and his music pushing Mr. Fenter, and then what happened?
Or how to everyone ula bona ntate Malema le ntate Nkosi ba go tupetsa le Fenter. That is when I proceeded to them, Your Worship.
Continue.
They were pushing each other, and then upon my arrival, I just stood in the middle of the worship, in their middle.
And you did explain when you said they were pushing each other, I stood in the middle. Can you please, what are you talking about, they?
Just one moment.
The witness, according to my client statement, I came between them, not really. I stood specifically, I came between them. I stood. The witness will be verified with the detective.
Yes, it was. Thank you, ma'am. Just for record purposes, there's an indication that there's a misrepresentation concerning what the witness has indicated. Can you just clarify that issue for us?
May the witness repeat what he has said, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. You still remember, sir? Just repeat what you indicated.
Your Worship, even the group of people which were standing side by side,
facing each other. I then went and stood between the two groups. The person that I was standing in front of was Mr. Ndo.
That's okay. I just approach Mr. Malema and just ask whether he was in line what was said.
No, I feel I sent a piece on the other side of the other piece, and the person I was pushing at is in front of me. I cannot call you to tell them to get in front of the two groups, which is the people doing for what they did, and then on the other side of my house, concentrating on the family, not in between them. Thank you. The slides are now. He says the time between them are concentrating on the controls, not that I stood between them. That's not incorrect to say, but that I stood in the middle of them.
Thank you, ma'am. We have also listened to what was indicated. It is still not correct in that regard.
I accept that, Your Worship.
Thank you. What the court will further direct, we will proceed with the matter itself. The portion which we have a problem with will be translated to the chief interpreter, and the correct interpretation from the record need to be given to the court as well. I think this is the
May I continue?
You may continue. Thank you, Mr. Rametse. Just one moment, I think we still need to get back onto the record. Can I just also get clarity with regards to the first interpretation? Were we back on record? Thank you. We are back on record. It's with case number 3/4067/2019. Thank you, Mr. Rametse.
Yes, Your Worship, as I stated for Your Worship, the issue was when my learned colleague said, Your Worship, stood, Your Worship. So now that is impossible, Your Worship. He actually went in between and concentrating on Mr. Ndo's, Your Worship.
Thank you.
He actually went in between.
In between. Advocate Ouders as well as Ms. Hart. The parties
was instructed as well. It's exactly what I was
the chief interpreter now placed before court.
Exactly.
The court
not
will,
that I can, but that's what I'm told.
Yes, thank you. The court will then direct that the interpretation of the chief interpreter will be the correct interpretation for use of the record. The portion which was interpreted by the interpreter previously is to be deleted from the record, and the court will accept the chief interpreter's interpretation. Ms. Hart, is there anything else?
No, Your Worship.
I believe that was the only issue which was before the court. Thank you, sir. Can you indicate to the court your full names and surname?
Re kopa mabiso ha feletseng le seboko.
Moleleki Gilbert Mapisa.
Moleleki Gilbert Mapisa.
Mr. Mapisa, you're still under oath. You have not discussed your evidence with anyone. Is that correct?
Ontse o le ka tlasa kano ha una motho e leng hore o ile wa qoqa le ena ka molato ona akere. I confirm so, Your Worship.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Mapisa, we were still at paragraph 1 of your statement where we dealt with this particular funeral, and I had put you that it was a very auspicious occasion and someone important had died. What I want to ask you, sir, is were you aware that there was a program for this funeral?
Jwale he monghadi, re sa le paragrafong ya pele. Ekabe o ne o tseba hore ho na le lenane tsamaiso phupung ena?
Nna ke instructor fela ke captain ya ka e ne le teng.
Yes, Worship, I got the instructions from my captain.
And if one had regard to that program, which is Exhibit A before this Honourable Court, it detailed who was going to deliver which addresses in respect of the deceased. Do you agree with me?
Can I say that again?
If one has regard to that program, which is Exhibit A before this Honourable Court, it detailed who were the dignitaries that were going to give specific addresses in memory of the deceased, Mrs. Mandela.
Mane lenane tsamaisong e leng hore ile ya nkuwa ya etswa pontsho ya A. Ho ne ho ngotswe kapa ho hlalositswe hore na ke bomang dibui tse tlileng hore di tlo nka karolo phupung eno. Ho jwalo.
lenane leo ha ke a le bona ntho e ke leng ka e bona ke television.
I did not see the program, Your Worship. I only saw at the television.
I want to put you that one of the tributes, it's number 17 in Exhibit A, Your Worship, was a tribute by Mr. Julius Malema, accused number 1. Do you dispute that?
Mani exhibiting ya a kapaponso ya a mani ho number nomoro ya leshome le misupileng ho ne hona le sebui se leng hore se ngotswe mane e le Monghadi Malema. E ka ba o ka dumelana le nna?
Hi program ya ke a e bona nna ka ke batho ka ha ku utlwisisa nka ba ka e bona ha lo ba bua ka program ha ke a e bona lo e bona.
If you are talking about the program of the funeral, I did not see that, Your Worship.
And to finish paragraph 1, you put your telephone number there, 01121256673. You confirm that telephone number at the time. Is that correct?
Jole he hona le nomoro ya mohala e leng hore e ngotswe mona noto 11 pedi 12 hlano tshelela supa tharo. O dumelana le nna?
E ke mosebetsi ke nomoro ya mosebetsi.
That is my work telephone number, Your Worship.
So we've now completed paragraph 1. You agree that everything in that paragraph is the truth?
Jwale he Monghadi re etile ka paragraph ya pele. O dumelana le nna hore dintho kaofela tse ngotsweng paragraphong ena ya pele ke nnete?
Ke nnete.
Yes, Worship, it is the truth.
Right, we turn to paragraph 2. On Saturday, 2018/04/14, at about approximately 1600 hours, I was posted there at the four-way Memorial Park to control traffic and parking duties.
Jwale he ore ka Moqebelo ka 2018 letsatsing la leshome le metso e mene kgweding ya bone e ne e le mane dihoreng tsa bone mane mo ileng hore o ne o sebeletsa mabitleng a four-way mehe o ne o le molaola sephethephethe mme o thusa le hore batho ba kgona ho paka dikoloi tsa bona.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
And that's the truth. You agree with me?
O dumelana le nna hore sena ke nnete?
Ke nnete.
It's true, Your Worship.
The second sentence of that paragraph, I confirm that the vehicles that were having escort were directed straight to the VIP parking, including the black Vita, which was transporting the EFF members.
Jwale, ke a dumela hore dikoloi kaofela tse neng di na le phelehetso di ne di bontshwa plekeng mo di tla emang teng mo e leng hore ho ema batho ba bohlokwa kapa ho paka batho ba bohlokwa ho kenyeletsa le Vito Entsho e neng e tsamaisa di-membara tsa sehlopha sa EFF.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
And you confirm that that is the truth, sir?
O dumelana hore le nna hore paragraph ena ya bobedi ke dinnete?
Ke nnete.
It's true, Your Worship.
So you're confirming now that the vehicle with the EFF members being a black Vito had an escort and was directed to the VIP parking. Do you agree with me?
O dumelana le nna hore Vito ena Entsho ene ena le ba felehetsi mme he ile ya bontshwa mo e tshwantse ho paka teng. Not packing, Your Worship, it was entering into the cemetery.
Yes, but it was directed, I assume by you, to the VIP parking. Do you agree?
Ke wena o neng o ba supentsha parking ya batho ba bohlokwa. O dumelana le nna? That is correct, so Your Worship.
Now, sir, you agree with me in paragraph 2, there's no mention of you stopping the vehicle.
Jwale paragraphong a ena ya bobedi ha hona mane mo ileng hore o ngotse hore o ile wa emisa koloi ena.
Ke batla we araba ka bokgutshwanyane. Ntho e le nngwe ke ngotse mone ke brief ya what happened at the gate.
I want to answer it briefly, so Your Worship. What I have written here is a summary of what had happened on that day, Your Worship.
No. It was a factual account. It may be a summary, but it does not mention having stopped that black veto. Do you agree with me?
Fela ha ona mo o ngotseng teng hore o ile wa emisa video ena statement sa hao
mona le ponisa ha ne le mpotsa potso o la re honna koloi tse kaofela tse tsa di VIP di le tsa kena ka hare le ena ile ya kena ka re le ena ile ya kena that's why ke itse including gore le yona ile ya kena it was directed.
Your Worship, the police officer that was taking my statement asked, all the vehicles entered, and I said yes, and it said including the said vehicle that we are talking about, and I said yes.
I'm going to repeat for the third time. You never mentioned here that you stopped the black veto with the EFF members. Do you agree with me?
Monghadi, ke a boeletsa hape ha hona mo o ngotseng teng hore o ile wa emisa video entho. Yes, Worship, I did not mention on the statement.
Thank you. Now this was when you were told by the police officer more than a year later, this is about the incident between Colonel Venter and the two accused persons. Do you agree with me?
Jwale o ile wa jwetswa ke leponesa hore ho bile le ketsahalo ena mahareng a bontate antate Malema le ntate Ndlozi le Monghadi Venter ka mora selemo e etsahetse. Yes, so she is the one that had reminded me.
Paragraph 3. While I was busy directing the vehicles from outside the gates of Memorial Park Cemetery 4 ways, that's when heard a noise from inside as if something was wrong. Do you agree with that?
Jwale ore na kwe ke nentse ke fitisa dikoloi ke ke le ka ntle ho heke ya mabitla a 4 way ke mane mo ke ileng ka utlwa lerata le ileng gore le ne le etsahala ka hare e kare ho ne ho na le se fosahetseng. That is correct, so Your Worship.
Continues. When I got inside the yard of the cemetery, I saw the EFF members, Mr. Malema and Mr. Ndlozi, who were even pushing the SAPS member. Do you confirm it?
Ore, ho keneng haka ka hare ho jarete. Ke mane mo kileng ka bona batho ba sehlopha sa EFF e le Monghadi Malema le Monghadi Ndlozi ba khothometsa leponisa le itseng. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And to ask you, sir, if you remembered Colonel Venter's name, why do you refer to him there as the SAPS member, sir?
Ha ile hore o ne o hopola lebitso la Monghadi Venter ke ka lebaka la eng o itse membera ya maponesa kapa e mong wa maponesa?
Nka baka ba specific ho yena.
I was not specific to him, Your Worship.
That's not an answer, sir. You saw one man being pushed. In court, you identify him as Colonel Venter. When you made your statement, you referred to him as the SAPS member. Please, can you explain, if you remember his name all the time, why you didn't refer to him as Colonel Venter?
Jwale Monghadi, o bona batho ba khothometsa leponisa lo leng hore wa tseba ke mang. Fela jwalo ka ha o hlalositse ka hare ho lekgotla la dinyewe hore ke Monghadi Venter. Fela statement sa hao ha o hlalose hore ke Monghadi Venter ore e mong wa sepolisa.
That's go ke ka ho ke reng ine le kore leponisa le le ngola statement ne tshantse be mohlomong o ngola lebitso le so yena ona shoto ya khutsufatsa statement is.
Your Worship, I have said the police office, I'm saying the police officer that was taking my statement was supposed to mention every person. However, he was just summarizing what had happened.
This is your statement, and you'll see that you identify one name, Mr. Malema and Mr. Ndlozi, but when it comes to this other person, you refer to him as the SAPS member.
Monghadi ho makatsa ka lebaka la hore o kgone ho bitsa lengolo lebitso la Ntate Ndlozi le Ntate Malema fela ha o tloa lepoliseng ore e mong wa mapolesa.
Ine le yena Tate Venter.
Yes, it was Mr. Venter, Your Worship.
I'm putting to you, and I told you earlier, you're not telling the truth when you say you remembered his name, because you would have put his name there.
Yeah, what's a hard? Oboa leshano ha o re ono o hopotse lebitso la hae ka lebaka la hore o no tshwantse hore o le ngotse mona nana statementeng sa hae.
Ke ne ke hlalosetsa leponisa ditaba tse etsahetseng yena a ngola.
I was explaining to the police officer what had happened. He was the one that was writing.
I'll continue, sir. You haven't answered the question, but I'm going to continue. You say, I then intervened by talking to Mr. Ndlozi to go back to his vehicle. Do you agree with that?
Jwale he o re wena o ile wa kenella. Ke mane mo ilong hore o ile wa jwetsa Ntate Ndlozi hore a kgutlele ka koloing. O la bua le yena. That is correct, so Your Worship.
The truth, you agree?
Ke nnete. That is true, Your Worship.
You say further, Mr. Ndlozi was busy asking me why the SAPS member does not want to allow them at the cemetery, whereas they're having credentials to be at the four-way cemetery. Do you confirm with that? Do you confirm the content?
Ore Ntate Ndlozi o nantse a o botsa hore hobaneng maponesa ana a sa dumelo hore re kene ka hare ho jaretse ya mabitla ka lebaka la hore re na le tumello kapa re na le tokelo ya ho kena. That is true, Your Worship.
You see again, sir, you're talking about Mr. Ndlozi, but when it comes to Colonel Fenter, you speak of the SAPS member. Do you agree with me?
Jwale he monghadi o ntse o aga o bitsa lebitso lena la Ntate Ndlozi empa ha o tshwantse o bue ka leponisa lena ha o bitse lebitso la lona o ntse re leponisa lena
o tshwere leponisa lena le ngwala mo ke yena a sa tsepamisane ditaba hantle.
Your Worship, the police officer that was taking down my statement is the one who did not put the things in the right manner.
So what you're saying is you used the name Colonel Fenter and that police officer changed it to the SAPS member. Is that what you're telling the court?
O leka hore jwetsa hore wena o ntse o re Monghadi Venter fela le ponisa le neng le nka statement sa hao le ntse le re e mong wa mapolisa.
Ntho e ke entseng ke ne ke mo hlalosetsa hore ho etsaetseng yena ba ngola paragraph.
What I did was to explain what had happened, and he was writing the paragraphs.
You haven't answered the question, I'll carry on, sir. Given you an opportunity. You say here that Mr. Ndlozi told you that they were having credentials. Do you agree that not only the people but also the vehicle were accredited to enter that cemetery?
Jwale he Monghadi Ndlozi o ile a o jwetsa hore ba na le tokelo ya go kena le koloi ena ya bona ine ina le tumello ya hore e ka kena.
Kore yo o bua ni na kwa hane ke yemisa kapa after
the statement in Sahau.
o sa bobedi sa bobedi.
The second one, Your Worship, I do not see clearly.
And I'm not reading your statement. I asked you a question above your statement. Do you agree that both the people and the vehicle were accredited to go into that cemetery that day?
Batho ba neng ba le ka hare ho koloi ba ne ba ina le tokelo ya hore ba ka kena ka hare.
Di ska ha tshwara ne bana le tokelo. Nna ho ya ka nna ne bana le tokelo bana ke bone di VIP ka hara koloi.
Yes, Worship, according to myself, they had the right to enter because I saw the VIPs in the vehicle.
I agree with you, thank you, but now I'm going further. Both the people, the individual people, and the vehicle were allowed to enter. Do you agree with me?
Jwale he, batho ba ne ba le ka hare ha mmoho le yona koloi ena ba ne ba ina le tumello ya ba ne ba ina le tumello ya ho kena. That is correct, so Your Worship.
You then say that at the end he went inside their vehicle together with Mr. Malema. Do you confirm that?
Ore bele ba qetella yena le ntate Malema ba kena ka koloing. Yes, Your Worship, they entered.
You then say they were then given permission to enter with their vehicle at the VIP section. Do you confirm that?
Mehe ore ba ile ba qetella ba fuwa tumelo ya hore ba kene le koloi ya bona ho ya mani sectoring ya batho ba bohlokwa. That is correct, so Your Worship.
You then say that's all I can state. Do you confirm that?
Ke tsona fela tsono o ka di bua ho ya ka statement sa hao. Ntate?
Yeah.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
So you confirm that everything that's contained in paragraph 4 of your statement is the truth, is that correct?
Jwale o dumelana le nna hore dintho kaofela tse ngotsweng paragraphong ya bone ke dinnete.
Ke nnete.
That is correct, so Your Worship.
And that's why, as we've done, we don't have to repeat, you had no difficulty taking the oath as detailed in paragraph 5 and the stamp beneath that. Do you agree with me?
Jwale he ke mane mo ileng ho le wa hlaloswa paragraphong ya 5 hore wena ha ona bothata ba ho nka kano le ho utlwisisa statement sena mme sa qetella se be wa tlasa kano.
Ke dumela.
I agree, Your Worship.
Your Worship, I respectfully request that this statement be accepted by this Honourable Court as Exhibit L. That will be the next exhibit.
Thank you. Is there any further questions with regards to the statement at this stage?
I'm going to question the witness, but not on the statement as yet.
Yes. Respect to the statement. In the interim, while I'm waiting for the statement, can I get clarity why the defense team does not wear masks?
There's no mask.
Advocate?
Joseph, I'm going to tell them to put their masks on. I apologize.
I know sometimes your glasses get fogged, and then most probably, is there any sufficient reason why the court should not allow them to wear masks, or are they comfortable with their mask?
Thank you.
As indicated, the statement was introduced as evidence at the start before the witness was basically given evidence by the state. There is no objection with regards to the said statement by the court, so the court will receive the said statement by consent of the parties and will mark it as Exhibit L. The court will also rule that the said statement has become admissible as evidence before the court, and it is introduced then as Exhibit L.
Thank you, Bishop. Now, you've watched the video today, and you've seen the convoy arriving on the video. Do you agree with me?
Jwale he monghadi o ne o shebile tshwantshisong mane kapa video mme he o ile wa bona a kere ha batho ha convoy ena e kena. Yes, Worship, I did.
And I want to put to you that that black Vita vehicle was part of the convoy. Do you have any did you disagree with me?
O dumelana le nna kapa o hanetsana le nna hore Vito ele ile ya emiswa ele ka hare ho dikoloi tse ding ka hare ho convoy?
Ha ke dumelane le.
Sorry, can we repeat that?
I'll repeat it. No, thank you. It can happen. There is no aspersions cost or whatsoever. What I put to you is we've seen the video today of the convoy arriving, and I'm putting to you that that black Vita was part of the convoy. Can you dispute that?
Veto ele, jolo ka ho bona dikoloi, e ne le karolo ya convoy.
Ini se karolo ya convoy.
It was not part of the convoy, Your Worship.
Then why did you not say it in your statement, sir?
Jwale ho ba neng o sa ngola statementeng sa hao hore e ne se karolo ya convoy?
Ke ka ho ke tjhong ke re statementeng sa ka ha ne re ka se ngola the way ke tsatse ke sentse shone slides are 8 page.
Your Worship, that is why I have already explained that my statement was just shortened. If I were supposed to write each and everything sequentially, then it was going to be about 8 pages of my statement.
Did anybody tell you there's a restriction on the amount of pages in your statement, sir?
Ekaba hona le motho a ileng a o jwetsa hore hona le tekanyetso ya maqepe a statement. No, Your Worship, I'm just explaining.
Did the police officer tell you, you mustn't write too much, my hand's tired? Or did he let you say whatever you want?
Jwale monghadi le polisi le la o jwetsa hore o ska ba bua haholo nna le tsola ka le kgathetse kapa o la o tloela wa bua fela.
Ne re bua a ngola paragraph. In a brief, yeah, in
we were talking, he was writing the paragraph. It was just a brief of what had happened.
And did you tell him whether that Vita had an escort or not?
Ola mo jwetsa hore Vito yane ina le mafelehetsi kapa tjhe.
Ke ka jwetsa ma le police.
Who? The police officer? Monghadi. Yes, Worship, I did.
And what did you tell him? It did have an escort.
Uite ina le mafelehetsi. Vito. Escort.
Oh, it is not escort.
It did not have an escort.
Are you certain of that, sir?
Ekaba o na le bonnete ba seo?
Ha dikoloi di na le escort. I don't want to maponesa o bona eng. Yona e tlile ka morao e se tsamae le nngwe e tla kwa.
Your Worship, if the vehicle has an escort, you will see the police officer or so. But this vehicle came alone.
I want to read your own paragraph 2 that you've confirmed is the truth, sir. Second sentence. You say here, I confirm that the vehicles that were having escort were directed straight to the VIP parking, including the black Vita which was transporting the EFF members.
Ke a dumela hore dikoloi kaofela tse neng di bile le bafelehetsi di ile tsa kenywa ka hare tsa bontshwa parking ya batho ba bohlokwa go kenyeletsa le Vito e ntsho e neng e tsamaisa di-membera tsa sehlopha sa EFF.
Ntwena mo ho including ne ke hlalosa fela hore le yona ile ya kena ka hare e seng hore e ne le party ya convoy.
Your Worship, when I was stating including, I meant it had entered into the yard, not to say that it was part of the convoy.
It doesn't say that, sir. It doesn't say that.
Hi, Chozwan. Maybe he got beaten by English.
And I want to put you, it's irreconcilable with your version today, sir.
I do not understand what you mean.
I'll tell you. If one reads your statement, one cannot reconcile your version today that the Vita arrived after the convoy had entered the cemetery and that was traveling alone and that you then stopped it. You won't find that fitting into what your version in your written statement was. It's irreconcilable.
How? ha o a hlalosa hore veto ena ene e se karolo ya convoy e tlile e le nngwe.
Ya dumela ho tjho hore yena na ntsetsebe o ngotse mona hore including the black veto which was transporting EFF member afterwards because it's after the convoy is in.
I agree to that, Your Worship. That simply means he was supposed to write that, including a black veto that was transporting the EFF members, which came along afterwards.
If you say came along afterwards, you can't use the word including. So.
Monghadi, ha o re ka mora moo, ha o kekebe wa kgona ho sebedisa ho kenyeletsa le
nna ntho e ke buile o tshore yena le ponisa le phrasing ya hae e la ba problem ya phrasing of the sentence.
Your Worship, what I have explained to him, it seems like he had a problem of phrasing a sentence, Your Worship, of forming a sentence.
There's a major problem with that, sir. He never took an oath on the statement you did.
Ke bona bothata bono no. Ene e se yena a neng a etsa statement e ne e le wena.
Yena o na se ngola.
He was writing down.
But so even today, you said it's the truth when I read it to you.
One moment.
I beg your pardon, I think it's an interpreter. I'll clarify, there's a confusion. When I said he's not the one who took the oath, you're the one who took the oath, the interpreter said the statement, but we can clarify it, Your Worship. So let me repeat it.
Yes, you may do so.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. You took the oath at the end of this statement, not the police officer. Do you agree with me?
Wena, ke wena a nkileng kano ha o qeta ho ngola statement. Ha se le ponisa le ne le nka statement ho wena.
Ke a dumela.
I agree to that, Your Worship.
Not only that, sir, today in court you repeated and confirmed, sentence by sentence, that this was the truth. Do you agree with me?
Ha se ntho eno fela. Le ka hare ho lekgotla la dinyewe kajeno. Re ile ra bala statement sa hao ke ha ntse o dumelana le sona ho ya ka mekgahlelo. That is correct, so, Your Worship.
And when you did so, you never said, no, there's a mistake. There's a word missing. It's afterwards, or they weren't part of that. You were happy to confirm under oath what you'd written under oath before this honorable court. Do you agree with me?
Jwale nako e re ntse re bala statement sa hao ha o a ke wa hlalosa hore ebo hona le phoso e etsahetseng ho no tshwantse hore ho bile le hore e tlile ha mamorao e ne e se karolo ya convoy fela o ne o khotsofetse o dumelana le sona statement sena
ke la ka dumelana le sona ntho e ke tshong gore details the kitchen thongolengwa re tla hlalosa ka court.
Yes, Worship, I agreed or I confirmed the statement and I said all the details will be given at court.
It's not a question of detail, sir. They're irreconcilable. They don't fit together. They don't match. But well, I want to go further. You then, in the next paragraph, specifically refer to what happened to this black veto. Do you agree with me?
Jwale o le ba qetella o ya tlase o hlalosa hore na o etsaetseng ka veto ena. O la qetella o ya pele o hlalosa ho etsaetseng.
Ska hona mo mona ke bua hore include ine kena ne ke hlalosa hore le yona jwale ka di VIP cars tse di e kene ka sebetso.
When I was saying including, I was meaning to say it also entered within the yard, just like other VIP vehicles, Your Worship.
You're not even dealing with the question. You seem to be wanting to make a statement, not deal with the question. I'm moving on, sir. I've warned you several times. The court can draw an inference from your failure to answer the question. What I want to put to you, sir, and you've said already, in the statement you don't, on your own version, you never mentioned stopping that black Vito. Do you agree with me?
Can you repeat that?
Yes. In your own statement, and you've already said this today, you don't ever mention stopping that black Vito. Do you agree with me?
So the statement is how naman mo ilo wa hlalosa hore o le emisa Vito. Is jwalo ke?
Mona statement ha ke a hlalosa jwalo.
On the statement, Your Worship, I did not explain it.
You never mentioned it. It's not a case of explaining it. You didn't even mention it. You didn't say, I stopped it for 1 second, I didn't stop it at all. You never mentioned stopping. It's not a question of detail, it's a question of fact, sir.
Monghadi, statement is how hona mo ilong hore o ile wa ngola hore ke ile ka emisa Vito. Ha wa ngola ho hang.
Ha se ona fela hona le ntho tse ngata tse ke sa di ngola statementeng.
That is not the only thing that I did not mention on my statement, Joseph. There are other aspects that I did not mention on my statement.
I'm going to put you, sir, you didn't mention it because it never happened. You never stopped that vehicle.
Jwale he monghadi ke o jwetsa hore ha wa ngola statement sa hao ka lebaka la hore wena ha o wa ke wa emisa Vito eno ho hang.
Jwale ke bone jwang hore batho ba ka hare ke bo mang if ne ke sa emisa.
If I did not stop it, Your Worship, how did I see whom are the people inside the Vito?
How much you have to answer your question, sir?
Then
I'll counter you. Tell me who was in the vehicle if you claim that you know who was in the vehicle. Who was there? See, you stopped it and you know who was there.
Hi, Lord, or what's in Bahorna? Kimang, Kimomang, Banabalika Haru, Hokoloi, and Zoloka, when our any seats. I could have said Kimomang.
It's a little driver, you might say. But take back to be my baby.
Your Worship, there was a driver of which I did not know. I only saw 2 people that I know. That is when I realized that these are the VIPs.
How many people were in the vehicles?
Your Worship, I am repeating again. I do not remember how many people were inside that vehicle. However, the 2 honorable gentlemen in court, they were there, Your Worship.
I put you, there were 4 people in the vehicle. Can you dispute it?
I cannot dispute that, Your Worship, because I do not remember how many people were in that vehicle.
Did you speak to the driver?
No, Your Worship.
So you saw a vehicle approaching, you saw the 2 accused in the vehicle, and you motioned to it that it could proceed in. Is that correct?
That is correct, so Your Worship.
You recognize them as VIPs that were entitled to be at the funeral. Do you agree with me?
Yes, Your Worship.
And you recognize that the vehicle had a permit in the front that also entitled it to go in. Do you agree with me?
I did not look at the permit.
You may not have looked at it, but you saw a document on the dashboard. Do you agree with me?
How? Dashboard.
Captain Rona Hane Arabia post ha ka ba re shebe any credentials or o buile ka escorted vehicles tse santse di kene
Your Worship,
le di-VIP.
when our commander posted us, he did not tell us to look at the credentials and whatsoever. He spoke about, he told us to check the vehicles that were escorted of the VIPs.
And you recognize that this was a vehicle containing VIPs and was entitled to enter. Do you agree with me?
Jwale o ile wa bona hore koloi ena e na le batho ba bohlokwa mme e na le tokelo ya hore e ka kena. Correct, so Your Worship.
There was no way that you could tell those people they're not allowed to go in because you knew they were entitled to be there. Do you agree with me?
Jwale ha hona tsela e leng hore wena o no ka ba jwetsa hore ha bana tokelo ya ho kena. Ha ba tshwanela ho kena ka lebaka la hore o no tseba hore ke batho ba bohlokwa ba na le tokelo ya ho kena.
Re fuwe instruction ya hore di-VIP di kene.
Yes, Worship, we were given an instruction that the VIPs must enter.
And you, having recognized them as VIPs, directed them towards the VIP parking. Is that correct?
Jwale ha o bona hore ke batho ba bohlokwa, o ile wa ba fitisetsa parking ya batho ba bohlokwa.
Ke la ka ba fitisetsa straight mo main gate ya ke dikoloi kaofela ne di kena in the main gate of the entrance. Ke la ka di fitisetsa straight.
Yes, Worship, I directed them, I passed them straight, Worship, to the main gate of the cemetery because all the vehicles were entering through the main gate of the cemetery.
So you saw the vehicles entering and you've seen it on the video with their hazards on, and this vehicle fitted into that description of a vehicle carrying VIPs that should enter. Do you agree with me?
Jwale monghadi dikoloi o di bone mane hore di ne di kgantsha mabone. Jwale he le koloi ena nana le yona e ne e tshwana kapa e ne e fita hore e ka ba koloi e tsamayang le tsona. Ka lebaka la hore na le batho ba bohlokwa.
Ke ntse ka hobane e na le batho ba bohlokwa. Ho yane e ntse le the very same car.
Your Worship, I allowed the vehicle to enter because it had VIPs. If it was the same vehicle with no VIPs, I wouldn't have allowed that vehicle to go through.
Because in your mind there was no doubt that that vehicle was entitled to enter. Do you agree?
Sorry, Worship?
In your mind, I said, because in your mind there was no doubt that that vehicle was entitled to enter the VIP section. Do you agree?
Monahanong wa hao ho ne ho sena pelaelo ho hang hore koloi ena e na le tokelo ya hore e ka kena. Ka lebaka la hore ke batho e na le batho ba bohlokwa.
Ka hobane e na le batho ba bohlokwa e ne tlameha hore ke.
Yes, Worship, because it had VIPs, it had to enter.
You testified that you then heard a noise and turned around and saw people pushing each other. Is that correct?
Ore o ile wa utlwa lerata ka morao mme o ile wa bona batho ba neng ba kgotometsana. Ho jwang? That is correct, so Your Worship.
In fact, you used the term through the interpreter that these people were pushing each other not once but twice. Do you agree with me?
Jwale monghadi o lenne wa ne wa khutlela wa ne wa re batho bana ba ne ba kgotometsana. O ntse o boeletsa lentswe le
ne ke le holenyana ke le holenyana ha o sheba batho mane ne kore ha ke tsebe mang o na pusha mang ka nako e ne ke le hole mara e la re ha ke atomela ke mo khona mo bona re o etsa.
Yes, Your Worship, I was a bit far, and then when you are far you cannot see who is pushing who, and then I came closer. That is when I saw what was happening.
And when you came closer, you went even so far as to come between them, concentrating on Mr. Ndlozi. Is that correct?
Jwale he ore ha o fitla o ile wa kena mahareng a bona mme motho o ileng hore o ile wa shebana le yena kapa motho o ileng hore o ne o na le yena o bua le yena ke ntate Ndlozi. That is correct, so Your Worship.
And that's when Mr. Ndlozi, accused number 2, was cross. And he told you Words to the effect that he's entitled to enter, they are accredited and can go inside. Do you agree?
Jwale he ke mane mo ileng hore Ntate Ndlozi o ile a o jwetsa hore re na le tokelo ya ho kena, re na le mangolo a ho kena.
nthwana a leng a e bua ke ya hore hobaneng ba re stopa se ka ra kena ka cemetery re na le tokelo.
What he said was that, why are we refused entry within the yard of the cemetery, whereas we have the right to do so?
In your statement, you said, he explained that they had credentials to do so. Do you agree with me?
Or ba na le di-credentials tsa ho kena.
Credentials.
Credentials.
Hona ne re sa sebetse ka di-credentials.
We did not work on credentials, Your Worship.
It's not what you worked on. In your statement, you say, Mr. Ndlozi told you that they are having credentials to be at the 4-way cemetery. It's paragraph 4. Do you agree with me?
Paragrafong ya hao ya bone ya statement o re Ntate Ndlozi o jwetsitse hore